In this video, we're going to talk about the 6 reasons why you can't finish your tracks and why you can't finish more music. And then I'm also going to tell you how to fix that. I know how frustrating it can feel when you have good ideas, but you just can't finish them. And then you just fall into this loop of self-doubt, limiting beliefs. You start being hard on yourself. I've been there, trust me, went through that. And in today's video, I'm going to share how simple it is to fix that. For those of you who are new to the channel, my name is Vlad and I create superstar music producers. And if you're interested in coaching, music production, sound design, mixing, growing a fan base, getting signed to a label, getting more streams to Spotify, all the links are going to be down below. I have a label and I can push your music to more people. So let's get started with the video. And the reason number 1 is going to be the poor workflow. So when it comes to producing music, what I noticed when you are in the flow and you are making the track, it's super important to keep your mind sharp. It's super important to stay like laser focused on this one thing. And when it comes to the workflow, there are a couple of things that I want to talk about and a couple of like common mistakes that I see people do. So like number 1 is going to be poor project organization. So take a look at my project, just like how it looks from the third person perspective. Everything is super nice, everything is super organized, like super minimal. I have like low end group drums, instruments. The instruments, however, I think I can group a bit more, but still like it's just going to be like one more group. And what I see people do, they have like a lot of different colors. They don't name their tracks right, and then sometimes like I work like as a ghost producer, like mix the track, and I open the project. I'm just like, oh, you can't work like this. You need to keep your project organized, otherwise it's just not going to work. That's one thing. The second thing when it comes to the workflow is optimizing your time, and I can make a full guide on that. Just let me know in the comments below. I think it's going to be a good video. And what I'm talking about, let's say like I have a sound that I use in every single track, right? Or maybe like really often. So instead of making the sound from scratch every time, what I do, I just put it in my like instrument rack. And let's say I'm going to use this sound. So you can see that I already have my instrument, like the processing rack, and all I need to do is just to drag and drop it into my project instead of like doing this whole thing every time, right? I already have like the reverb and everything that I need, and I don't like really have to do anything, right? So I can just press, and this is the sound. It's ready, right? And that comes to like every single sound, like really every single sound that you use. Save it in your instrument track. You can see how many sounds that I have. I'm not going to go into like full detail because I want to make a full video about this, like really in whole detail, want to tell you everything. But having the right workflow, really making sure that everything is looking nice in your project, everything is organized, right? Super important. And to summarize this, when you're making the track, think about how can you optimize the time? How can I spend less time on the things that I do? And if you list the things that you're doing in your project, then you will see, oh, wow, I'm spending so much time on sound design during production. Just cut this. Like, don't do it. Reason number 2, perfectionism. I know the feeling, trust me. I've been there like a lot of times. I had some tracks that I've been working like a month on. And one day I just had to say like, hey, I'm done. I'm done. Whatever. I'm just going to finish it. Maybe I'm not going to release it, but just finish it. Because here's the thing. Like lately I've been working with a guy on finishing a project. And what's funny, I just couldn't. I just couldn't finish. I was like, hey, dude, you can take your money back. I'm not going to work on this project anymore. Just because like I was trying to finish it. I was trying to do as I saw the project. I was like, no, I don't like this, change that. And it's like this endless cycle of trying to add something, trying to remove something. Sometimes you just have to say, hey, whatever, I'm just going to do it. And that's it. Okay? So super important to not to be like too of a perfectionist, because it can't be perfect. Yes, when I listen to my releases, I was like, it's this little thing. I wish I could have fixed that way before, but it is what it is. People aren't going to notice that much. So just keep it keep it simple, whatever. It doesn't have to be perfect. You just need to get to a certain stage where you're like, hey, okay, that's it. I'm done. Not going to do it anymore. And that's going to help you a lot, because I had a lot of times, a lot of cases when I had tracks like that. So it doesn't help you. If you are too attached to the track being perfect, to making perfect, no, it's just not going to work. Make it as good as possible and then just finish it, release it. Gonna help you a lot. Better to start a new one with all of the experience and all of the mistakes that you've made in your previous stage, right? And then it's gonna be way simpler. Okay, my favorite one, so far, like one of the favorite ones. So the 8-bar loop syndrome. Oh, this is such a good one. Let's talk about this, guys. So when you are making a track, and I see a lot of people do it, so they make a loop which is like 5 bars long, and then they try to make this 5 bars into a full track. And now, as opposed to this, imagine what would be simpler to make this. I'm going to play the track, by the way, soon. To make this like a full track, or to make a loop which is 16 bars, which is like 30 seconds. And just like by looking at it, you can see if I copy it one time, it's already 1 minute. 1 minute of something happening in the track. But if I have 5 bars, I need to copy already 4 times, right? Oh, like I'm sorry, like four bars, not 5 bars. It just says like 5, here. So if you copy 4 times, it's already like too repetitive. So making longer loops, making longer melodies, and just like when you're starting a track, yes, I mean, you can start with 4 bars, then copy it, have like 16 bars, but having 16 bars as like the baseline when you're making a track. So take a listen to the melody that I have, right? I want to show you the melody. So the melody in this case is 8 bars, right? So when we listen to it, so even though that it's just like 8 bars, which like I would consider this track being tech house, by the way, in my opinion, that's my tech house that I make. So in this case, even though like the melody is 8 bars, this part, it feels like there's something new which is happening, right? So we have like different layers. So if we bypass, I have different layers, like with saxophone, with brass instruments, with other like orchestral instruments. I'm a huge fan of doing layering orchestral and electronic dance music. So that's one thing, right? The longer is the loop, the easier it is to turn it into a full track. I mean, it's not really that complicated, right? So all you need to do is just like, hey, just make a bit longer melody, add some variation, and even though like it's literally the same melody, it doesn't sound the same, right? So even if you make something like this, so it's already pretty long. So don't get stuck in that loop. The moment when you got the groove going, like the kick, the bass, the drums, maybe like lead sound, atmosphere, chord, whatever, vocal, don't try to add more like this, right? Vertical. Don't add vertically. The moment that it's sounding good, start arranging, start like turning this into a full track. Because the sooner you start turning it into the full track, the faster you will finish, the easier it will be for you to finish such a track. Like super simple stuff, but so effective, really. When I started doing that, I started finishing tracks way faster. Okay, the next thing, over complicating things. Oh, this is also, again, it's like one of my favorite ones. So in the past, I had tracks with really a lot of channels, and I'm actually going to show you this example. And what happens when you add too much sounds into the track? First of all, you confuse the listener, because if there are like way too much elements, way too much sounds in the track, it's not going to sound interesting. It will be just confusing, because the person goes, oh, like, okay, the lead sound, first lead sound, second lead sound, like, what is happening? Like, our attention is limited. So all you need to do is just understand that for good track, like, again, if you take a look at this one, it's just like one melody, literally. Some atmospheres. And the melody. And even just the kick in the bass with the drums. Maybe like add a vocal here. It's already such a great groove. I just like it so much. It's just so nice. Yeah. One of my favorite tracks so far. So keeping your tracks simple. So even though like I have quite a few channels here, right? 48, which is not a lot. Like for a good track, not a lot, really. And some of the tracks is just basically like the layer of the melody. So it's not even like I separate like different sound. So there's like 40 tracks probably, right? And it's not a lot. So keeping things simple is such a helpful thing. So take a look at your projects and try to understand we can simplify things. So if you ever doubt some of the like elements that you have on your track, like, oh, maybe I should not keep this lead sound, delete it. Like, really, the moment I feel like I'm not sure, I just get rid of it, because you can't feel like pity about deleting some sounds from your tracks, because otherwise it's just hard. It will be hard if you feel pity. Oh, like I can't delete this sound. What if I can use it later? No, don't do it. And I want to show you like another example of the track that I made like a while ago, like 2019. It's just so much happening. Although like the idea is really good, I lost the project unfortunately. So I would just pick the sounds by ear, like replicate remake the melody, because like the idea is really nice. I like it. So yeah, well, but again, you can hear like too much is going on at the same time, as opposed to this track where it's super minimal, like super chill, like so nice. Because I understood how the focus works, what things you should be focusing on. So don't overcomplicate it. Keep it simple. All right. The next thing is going to be focusing on wrong things during the production, or like the arrangement process. Don't mix. Don't sound design. Like I tend to sometimes like make sounds from scratch and it's killing the vibe. I know, but sometimes it just whatever. I just do it. But if I can save time, like as I've shown you in the beginning, and you can just, those are like all my signature sounds that you can really imagine how interesting your sound will be the more sounds you have, right? The more elements that you can have. And to drive this point home, this track, it's not mixed like at all. It doesn't have almost like any processing. So yeah, drums just sidechain, instruments only sidechain. I'm not even like no compression, no nothing. Just like, yeah, you can see like, they don't even have like an EQ, and that's the beauty when you select the right sounds for your track. Yeah, like this one has a bit of like overdrive, but it's not mixing. It's more like it's creative processing. It's like a really quick tweak. And on my kick and the bass, I just have like essential stuff like saturation, just because it gives me that final taste, that final vibe. Right? That's without. I'm just gluing the sounds together, but like I'm not mixing it. I'm not trying to mix the track while producing. So if you, when composing, like when you are arranging the whole track, if you catch yourself doing wrong things like mixing, you try to again do the sound design, don't do it, because you cannot multitask. You can just focus on one thing. If it's arrangement, do the arrangement. If that's mixing, don't do the arrangement. Don't do the sound design. Maybe you can tweak it, but again, focusing on wrong things will just keep you away from finishing your tracks. It will hold you back, because that's just the way it works. I can tell you from my own experience, when you focus on wrong things, like stuff just doesn't work, like really. So what I like doing right now is to split my process. Okay, if I'm focusing on the arrangement, I'm just doing the arrangement. If I'm focusing on the sound design, do it like in a separate session. I'm lazy, to be honest, to do it, so I'm like, whatever. But if you can, that's great. Like that's really the key. And what else? Yeah, mixing, do the mixing. So just split the process and don't try to focus on multiple things at once, because it's just going to hold you back from finishing tracks. And the last thing is going to be a lack of system and knowledge. So this one is a bit more like practical. And for example, right now I understand, I have the algorithm of the track, so I know that, hey, okay, I know when I need to make a breakdown. I know where I need to like do the intro, build up, bridge, change the energy, because it's already just, you know, ingrained in me. I can understand this. I made so many tracks, probably, I don't know, more than 100, really. And I can see, just like by my intuition, where I need to do what certain things. That's the key. So if you lack it, if you don't have the system, then it's going to be complicated. A couple of tips that I can give you: just copy the arrangement, adjust the structure, not the sounds, because it's just not interesting, from your favorite reference tracks, because you will understand why they do certain things, why they do have a breakdown, why they do have like transition, bridge, you know, and things like that. That's really, really helpful. And then like over time, you're going to build your own way of doing the arrangement, just like by following your intuition. So that's pretty much it, guys. It's pretty much it for this video. Those are the 6 reasons why you can't finish your track. So if you follow the advice that I gave you in this video, you will immediately start seeing results. And by the way, if you want to learn a step-by-step system on how to build a track from scratch, starting from the idea, sound selection to a finished track that you can release on the label, I have a one-on-one coaching program. It's my flagship program, and I do it with students. So we make the track from scratch, and I'm guiding you through the whole process so you can understand like everything. We are doing this on Zoom, so I can just look at everything and in real time give you feedback, comments, and then we finish this track within 8 weeks. So you get a radio quality, radio ready track that you can release on a label, and I can help you release on a label and push it to more people as well. Have my own label. So that's also an option. So if you guys are interested in coaching, all the links are going to be down below. Just shoot me a message on Instagram, or you can book a call straight away on Calendly if you just want to talk with me. And if you like the video, don't forget to follow, subscribe, hit that notification and like button. Really helps with the algorithm. And I see you guys in the next video.